Hi, my name is Christy, and this is the American Chinese Food Show where we analyze historical artifacts like vintage menus, recipe books, photographs, and text to tell the story of American Chinese food. Today, we will try recreating the Wor Mein Extra Fine from what's believed to be the first Chinese cookbook in English ever published. Chinese Cookery in the Home Kitchen by Jessie Louise Nolton in 1911. To learn more about this book, check out our previous episode. Some believe the author of the cookbook, Mrs. Nolton, was influenced by Chin Foyne, the restaurateur active at the turn of the century in Chicago. We should revisit what was available in Chin's restaurant at the time to find similar dishes. In his restaurant, King Joy Lo, there were 90 noodle dishes. 7 of them were Wor Mein, with chicken, lobster, shrimps, sorghum, and mushroom. So what is Wor Mein? Wor in Cantonese means deep pot. Mein is noodles. Wor Mein. It essentially means soup noodles in a deep pot, meant to be shared by a few people. Here are some recent photos of Wor Mein taken from different restaurants in Hong Kong. It could be thick or thin egg noodles. There are always a few pieces of choice, some Chinese fowl and cabbage. The toppings are usually shiitake and straw mushrooms with seafood like shrimp and squid. It's a pretty old school name for soup noodles that is mostly phased out in Hong Kong and Guangdong, where it originated. But we still see this item pop up in menus in Chinese restaurants across the United States and Canada. Going back to the menu of King Joy Lo, there's also an item called Yang Chow Wor Mein. What is Yang Chow Wor Mein? Yang Chow Wor Mein, according to the manager of this restaurant in Hong Kong, consists of 3 batches of noodles, 6 pieces of vegetables, that's very precise, and 8 different ingredients: shrimp, chicken, shiitake, squid, cuttlefish, char siu, which is barbecue pork, and pig liver. 1 pot can serve a party of 4. Let's look at what Jessie Louise Nolton offered her readers to try to recreate this at home. Since this was written in 1911, we should expect to adjust seasoning for modern palates and also revise temperatures and times as kitchen appliances became a lot more efficient. So for the noodles, beat 1 or more eggs, add a pinch of salt and as much flour as the egg will absorb. Next, roll over and over carefully into a long, thin roll and cut thin slices from the end of the roll. At a high level, this is how you make egg noodles, except you probably need to let it rise for about 30 minutes before you roll it through a pasta machine, which will save your shoulders. For noodles that taste more like the alkaline ones in restaurants, you also want to consider adding lye water. I just had a baby and I'm making this video when she's taking her nap, so I'm not going to make noodles from scratch. Here's a store-bought one by the new Hong Kong Noodle Company at South San Francisco. This type of thin egg noodles is mainly used for wonton soup today at restaurants. Next, 2 pounds of any kind of meat desired, cut into small square pieces. 2 handfuls Chinese mushrooms soaked for 2 hours, the stems removed and cut in fine pieces, and 2 Spanish onions cut fine. Put all in pan with enough seasoning sauce to cover bottom of pan about 1 inch deep. When boiling, cover tightly and set on back of stove to cook slowly about 2 hours. To make the stock for soup noodles, we usually use a combination of pork, old ham, and dry cured ham. Adding 1 inch of soy sauce seems extremely excessive. It's also a sure way to ruin a good stock. We don't add soy sauce to stock. But here I'm just going to add like a tablespoon. Again, baby. So here's a can of chicken stock. I'm adding chopped shiitake mushroom and onion in the stock, following the recipe. Since there's already a can of chicken stock, I'm not going to slow cook it for 2 hours, but if you're going to make your own stock, 2 hours to 3 hours is about right. When nearly done, put in 1 pound peeled and sliced Chinese potatoes and let cook till done, about 10 minutes. Add a little boiling water if needed, but not too much. We know from the previous episode Chinese potato is water chestnut. I'm using canned water chestnut so that I don't have to peel them myself. Adding the slices into the stock. Put in large oval dish, cover over top with 2 cupful noodles cooked in boiling water and drain in colander. I don't have an oval dish. This is the deepest clay pot that I have, and it will do. Beat 1 egg very light. Cook in flat pan, spreading very thin and let cool. Slice in thin, fine strips. Green onion tops and a piece of cooked ham, about 3 inches long. Instead of cutting green onion, I have this trick of using a fork. Try it at home yourself next time. Here I'm using the plain old Oscar Mayer cooked ham deli lunch meat, not the fanciest, but also it will do. Cut cooked egg in strips and put over center of noodles with ham each side and green onion at ends of dish. Ham and onion fine as hair, egg a little bigger. I don't really have the knife skill to cut anything fine as hair. I'm also not quite sure what Mrs. Nolton meant here, so I'm just going to improvise. Eggs in the middle, a little bigger, and ham on each side and green onions around. Looks very fine when done. To me, this is a very simple bowl of soup noodles that I usually just make for myself for lunch, but I imagine this dish would wow a few guests at a Midwest housewife luncheon with friends back in, the early 1900s. The taste is not bad. I personally have never had water chestnut this way in soup noodles. I think it adds like a nice crunch to it together with shiitake mushroom. Usually for my own soup noodles, I just, do a fried egg and ham and that's it. I think the instructions are pretty solid. Kudos to Mrs. Nolton. I hope you like my first attempt to recreate a dish from an old recipe. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel. See you soon!